Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Chess on Bot TV, Chess Stars. My name is Sasha Star, and today's our guests are two professors. One is Ken Regan. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you for having me on again.
And Dan Fleetwood. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Hi, Sasha. Hi, Ken. Happy to be here.
My
Yeah.
turn begins Monday. Same to you?
Yes. And,
Wednesday.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
So we are going to talk, I would assume, about the Grand Chess Tour latest tournament, which was won by Wesley So in a very exciting playoff with Prague. Now, before we start, my own feeling about this tournament, of course, it's a great brainchild of Gary Kasparov and Rex Zingfield, and they're doing enormous job to have this format, and it's going on now for many, many years. And my only reservation is that the risk in chess, if we want to see that game alive and thriving, has to be more rewarded than there is in a Grand Chess Tour. I think they have to probably come back to a formula where the win is 3 points, a draw is 1, and loss is 0. And this way, the win would be rewarded. Why I think so? It would be great because to win on that level game and many other levels, but on this specifically, one has to take risk. And if it's not rewarded, you might as well play in the style of Wesley So. Just learn openings. Here is a black, here is a white. Try to win. You take risk. I'm not going to take any risk. I'm going to wait for you. Sacrifice something, bring out attack here and there. So I'll collect instead of half point, I will collect 1 point and win tournament anyway. So if it's not win, it's going to be a second or third prize anyway. And then off you go to a next tournament where you will make all kinds of draws, collect another second or third prize or so on. Is that kind of chess you enjoy? Is that what you would like to see?
Yeah. I will say that I think one issue here is external, not within the tournament, but the fact that there were 4 places for the Grand Chess Tour finals, and the higher rated players had who had the inside track for those places, had motivation to conserve their standing. So
I don't know. I like to see solid chess, good moves played. So, I mean, if it's a draw, it's a draw. Anna Muzichuk had 9 draws in the Cairns Cup, and most of them were quite interesting games. So,
Well, I think it's,
so I will show you
I think.
a game that exemplifies both sides of what you're saying, which is Wesley So's win over Fabiano Caruana. So let me share my entire screen. Oops, here we go. So it'll take a little while. Tell me when you see the board.
Okay.
So, okay, good. So Fabiano throws the kitchen sink at Wesley So, but gives himself an isolated pawn in the process and eventually falls. So Nimzo Indian. And the A3, I guess, Dan, you can confirm this, the A3 move is gaining traction.
yeah, it's, it went out of favor for a while, but now if you want an unbalanced position with dynamic play, people are coming back to this. I mean, White has some issues if you get to an ending.
Yep. That's that, and that will basically happen in this game. Now the engine already likes black with a number of moves, of which C5 is not one of them, but C5 is the most Nimzo thematic move. So that's interesting. Oh, wait, White is going for a broad center, black for active development, and this white center in one of the games are going to show becomes very broad. Anyways, black's position is completely sound and black has a lead in development. and the engine likes what's going on, except the engine thinks that white should play totally crazy with g4. But nonetheless, now white goes for solid build up in the center in this line, and eventually hopes to press the kingside attack. So, okay, well, the engine is saying there are serious questions that need to be asked about white's strategy, but all white are not in this variation. So maybe Wesley is just very sensible and knows that the computer likes black's game. The computer wanted black to play knight a5, but this is also good. Okay, so now white has this beautiful, perfect center, everything guarded for the moment. But let's see now how black undermines. Well, there's this. Okay, so this pawn really cannot be defended. So now the question becomes, can white drum up enough of an attack with the two bishops and pawns on the king side to outweigh black's winning a pawn on the queen side? So f5, here goes. Okay, black plays h6, which looks weakening, but it's important to prevent white from ganging up on the f6 square with bishop g5. So it's a move that's fairly easy to underestimate. So if black plays bishop takes c4, then bishop g5, and white already has enough compensation. In fact, the program says that to avoid a serious disadvantage, black has to react violently with h6 and g5 right away. So there's a lot in these positions. Anyway, so black plays h6. Now e5. Here comes. Yeah, this is throwing things at black, but black is able to trade queens. That's one helpful thing, and then just tuck in the knight. So black is still saying, look, your c pawn is a goner. What can you do to me on the king side with reduced material? Well, white does have one trump in this position. That's the ability to place a rook on the 7th rank. But it doesn't go there immediately. It can't go there immediately. Well, let's see. Can it? I thought I saw some tactic, but I guess actually maybe the point is just that black restricts white's queenside pieces and will eventually invade on d1 if white takes the a pawn. So white therefore activates the dark squared bishop, but that allows black to trade it off. Now white still has the structural problem of the c pawn, and now black takes it off. Okay, white gets the 7th rank as compensation. So this looks like enough compensation, maybe, but Wesley guards the pawn, plays very accurately, and here's where Caruana probably makes the losing move. Okay, so the way to stay in the game is to go va-bank, either threatening double down here, or if black gives a tempo, to play rook c3 and guard the pawn that way. Okay, rook b3 is there, but not quite as salutary because it doesn't have the advantage of gaining the c file. Anyway, Caruana played rook b4, which either wants black to exchange rooks, which would solve a lot of white's problems, or go for still attacking on the king side. So said, all right, attack me, and now I'm 2 pawns up. And so first we make white's king a little vulnerable, then now we're going to knock off all of white's pawns. It's like Monty Python's knights getting hacked to pieces as they attack. But attack white does. And, black plays g5 now. That's definitely a little bit of a thorn. White's like, oh, I can't attack. g5 is defended twice. So, all right, I'll guard my e-pawn. But now the vulnerability of white's king is even a little factor here. So, okay, so black is going to come in to f4 unless white gets an attack together. And even if white trades and wins the g-pawn, the knight on g6 would be a good defender. So anyway, so white is just milling about here. Now here comes black's counterattack, and it's already going to win the g-pawn. So white hopes that this could be a perpetual, but it's not. Black's king can tuck away on h6, and here comes mate. And Caruana gave up.
Oof.
Definitely power play from So.
But very poorly played by Caruana from the very beginning until the very end. It's
Right.
I've
Yeah,
never
not
seen
one of his
playing
better
so-
performances.
Yeah, if I were a 2200 player playing Wesley So, then this would be a proved way to play. You know, carry the attack, take risks. Maybe he'll make a mistake, but not probably not from Caruana. So, if I get So won this game, and then drew out. He drew his last 6 games,
Wow.
and then he was tied with Pragnananda in the end. Drew 2 rapid games, and then was dead lost in the Armageddon
Oh
game.
my gosh, yes.
Yes. So yeah, I guess actually I'll show that. So this ended in a draw, but in multiple junctures should have been winning for White. So this is where So's solid repertoire did get tested, and this the announcers on the St. Louis coverage, Peter Svidler, gave this a name, the Vincent Keimer, and then said no, Keimer is too young to have an opening named after him. This is also similar to how I play, but not so similar. I wouldn't play my pawns to both E3 and G3 in this type of position. But it's fine. It's not. It's just a game. And I would usually play D3 and knight D2 in these positions. But what do I know? White's just putting pieces on better squares. Yes, I'm getting a fair play analysis request in the lower right-hand corner from Hungary. Okay, let's see now. Okay, so it's chess. Actually, the engine says White didn't do too badly out of this opening. And of course, White didn't do badly out of this opening because Wesley's going to get in trouble. Okay, so now White decides to confront Black, and the goal here is to leave Black with hanging pawns, which I actually don't like having as Black in these positions. So here we go. Here are hanging pawns. And the issue is, it's not so much strategic. There are a lot of tactics that accompany them where the tactics don't work for the side with the hanging pawns. We're going to see some of them here. So, okay, in the spirit of a minority attack, we are going to push Black back on the queen side, A5 and knight A4 in the air. And here's the problem. So it looks very natural to overprotect the D5 pawn. White does have 4 pieces attacking it. Black has 4 pieces defending it. I'm counting the bishop on G2 as attacking it. And one of those things can be driven away. So it seems to make sense. Plus also it allows D4 in some positions, which is what Black wants to achieve. But I said there were tactics, right? So A5, well, there could have been tactics. Tactics with E4. White can profitably break here. Okay, Black can't capture because of the pin on the D file. And if D4, then this is winning.
Whoops. Yeah.
So, winning a piece because there's a double pin on the D file, D8 pinned and that. So this was so Pragg, however, played this first, and then went to G5. Okay, so this gives Wesley a chance to defend again. But the defensive moves are just, weird. H6, and you allow knight E4, which is White's tactical idea. So I can see Black not wanting to allow this. But anyway,
knight F8 looks very natural to me. I would probably play that too.
Yeah.
And then proceed to get rolled up.
Yes, it does. And the interesting thing here is that even though White chooses the third best continuation, it's still strong. Black's not really guarding C5 as much as C5 needs guarding. So White can actually already capture on D5 and play E4. So that's already in the cards. But knight E4, consequent plan. This is also good for a solid advantage. And so White captures. White could have just played knight A4 here. there's the pin on the d file, and the c5 pawn is going to hang. But white captured and so decided, well, okay, you should play queen e5, but queen c7 looks natural. I don't know what you're hoping for here, though, because you're just down a solid pawn. And maybe he was hoping for counterplay on d4. e4, most natural move for white, but actually knight e4, seemingly giving away d5, is a crushing move. This threat of knight f6 check.
Oh, yeah.
Not the first crushing move that Pragg is going to miss in this game. Okay, so now gets a little bit back in the game. Ignore that knight e6 is given a question mark. It's consequent for black. So now Pragg trades and still has the initiative. Black's pawns are still Swiss cheese. So white should be winning again. The c pawn is going to fall, but black gets a little counterplay. Okay, and now this actually is the one juncture, the most difficult miss. They say retreating moves are hard to find. The right way to guard the knight was queen g5, because the queen also guards the rook on c1. Well, b4 is completely natural, but it doesn't fix the problem of the pin on c1. So now So is back in the game. But he's going to be dead lost in about 8 more moves anyway. So it's because this position, I think, is still really harder to play because black's king is less safe, even if the engine could hold it. But you have to play very accurate moves in order to hold this position. Okay, so in fact, the most particular accurate move, the most convincing move to play is queen e7. You don't have to defend the rook because you're attacking white's queen, and that more or less guarantees that you'll be able to trade into a drawn rook ending. Anyway, rook f7 allows queen d4, and the problem with this is after rook e7, white has the very nice rook e5, which is going to preserve the queens on the board. Okay, so now this should again be, this is strong for white. Black has this counter attack on the diagonal, and well, h4 I think actually is white's best move in practice, even if the engine doesn't like it. But you have to keep pushing the h pawn. Okay, now white's winning. And now, it's hard for me to believe that with 45 seconds left, white just didn't throw in h6. My goodness. Yeah. So did say he was close to resigning in this game. And maybe h6 would have prompted resignation. It certainly just...
after h6, all he has to do is step his king out of the pin.
Yeah, and black can't guard both the 8th rank and the 7th rank. So white step the king is still strong. Okay, you can still play h6, but rook c5, queen f6. This lost.
That's a pity.
Lost to Sente, and so decided to trade the queens, and now So could draw this position in his sleep, even with white's pawn on h6. Okay, and we are down to 2 pawns against 1, and there's really no play in this position. White can't be on the 4th rank and the 5th rank at the same time. So after these moves, black survived the Armageddon and won the Sinquefield Cup.
Yeah, Ken, what about choice of colors in Armageddon?
That was the color choose white. This was 5-4 with no increment. Absolutely. And I thought I read a study saying 5-4 with no increment favors black a little, but it's close.
Oh, so there was not an increment there. I wasn't really paying attention. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's not Armageddon if you have an increment. So.
Right. Yeah. There's no. Wait. Oh, maybe there is. I'm sorry. It was an increment after turn 60.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I understand. Here. Yeah. So if we look at some of these moves and look at the clock.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if they were allowed. They can't be pre-moving on this. Okay, there's no increment until now. With turn 60, black got a 2-second increment playing g7 instantly, and white got a 2-second increment. So that's what it was. And maybe that evens things out. Well, no, I would think it would increase black's advantage a little bit. So that's the thing with and a 2-second increment is fairly generous. So it's enough to hold these kind of positions. So, Okay, I also want to talk about the Cairns Cup. And I'll go through this game fairly quickly. It's by the winner, Tan Zhongyi, and she raced out to a big lead, was points ahead of the field, and then lost in the last round, but Alice Lee only drew, so Alice Lee didn't catch her.
But she got Norm.
Yes, she got a Grandmaster Norm. I'll feature one of her games next. But this is just a very sprightly games. This is the women played very enterprising chess, and yet were as accurate as the men relative to their ratings, according to my formulas. So this is very normal play, but white has a fairly constant edge in this position. 2 raking bishops and the e5 strong point. So maybe there is something wrong with black's planning. And Zhang Yitan just has a fairly solid, maybe one hiccup, maybe approach to increasing her advantage and eventually taking her opportunity. So here black has actually come back a little bit. And now, actually, I'm sorry, remembering this game now, what we're going to see is exchange sacrifices by both sides. So black is implicitly sacrificing the exchange by playing this. It's not good for white to take it. That would actually concede a lot of squares to black. But white can do well by ignoring it. Okay, so after king h1, sorry.
Yeah,
we can't take it.
Yeah, okay. That would have been bad.
I didn't look closely enough when I was going over this game. But the rook will stays there. Now it looks like black is clamping down on the queen side, but white is able to get some benefits on the king side. So it's like there's a latent gun in this position that will eventually come down the diagonal. And if anything, Vaishali makes it worse by opening that diagonal. After rook e4, then queen e1, and now maybe the rook on d4 is actually vulnerable. And so it's interesting. If we just play chess in this position, well, the engine says white can play very slowly, and black is eventually going to pay for these weaknesses over here. So it's actually very, very interesting game to look at more carefully. Anyway, f5 gives white the opportunity to play g4, and I'm going to call g4 a good move. Never mind the x. Queen g3, I'm going to call that a good move. Never mind the x. And here comes the other exchange sacrifice, temporary again. Okay, because white's rooks are lined up, but white gets the 7th rank and is able to open the attack. And that actually enabled white to make the exchange sacrifice not temporary. And now Tan Zhongyi plays pretty well in mopping this up. Black resigned, cannot stop mate. So,
very interesting.
Yep. I do want to show Alice Lee's, one of Alice Lee's wins. She made a Grandmaster Norm. She was doing very well. She missed chances to beat Anna Muzychuk in an endgame that was also a very interesting moment. But let me play through this game against Divya Deshmukh.
Oh wow!
Yes, this is old style chess.
Yeah, let's play a game that you would lose in correspondence, but gives you chances over the board.
Right. Which side loses in correspondence here?
Oh, I wouldn't play this as black in correspondence.
Yeah, bishop c5 is a little gross.
Yeah, I mean you can the bishop c5 lines on moves like 5 or so are extremely popular in correspondence chess, but on move 3, white just gets something like a 0.7 or a 0.8, and
but the main theory instead of knight f6 is to play f7 f5. That's
Well,
what
yeah, sure. And that's even worse in correspondence, but over the board, it gives wild positions. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you have 5 here. Schliemann deferred.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, knight f6. So black decides just to. But this is Alice Lee playing black, so maybe she
Yeah.
knew something about her opponent's tendencies.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah. So bishop e7. Wow, a defensive move. Just playing, giving the pawn back and playing it solidly now. White can, of course, and probably should just win back the pawn.
I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but
yeah, then
anyway.
b6. Anyway, a4. I guess the pawn is pinned, so it's not going to go away, and White decides to take it with the knight. Now, I mean, White still has a little edge. Maybe had more of a little edge of rook e1, but b3 is entirely natural.
I'm not sure why she didn't recapture with the c pawn earlier, but anyway.
Yeah, wanted it to double up black's pawns, and she can do that now.
Okay.
So got the pawns doubled, got rid of the 2 bishops. On the other hand, lagging in development. So this is fine.
I mean, this is an unbalanced position that Alice Lee should love.
Yeah, because she has more open lines, and you're going to see some interesting play. White thinks she's gaining a tempo by attacking black's rook, but is not gaining a tempo. So black now has a good c pawn, 1 pawn for the exchange, but a good c pawn and some good squares. Now this is a mistake, but the move that White has to make to take advantage of the mistake is a move that I think is very hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, you could think you would play that in correspondence, but you would, in the old days when we didn't have engines, it would take you a weekend to first see that move.
Yeah.
And the way that you would see that move is you would go through the other lines and they would all be terrible. And it's like, well, what's left?
Yeah. Well, she played
My
it.
goodness.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Good for her. Yeah. Maybe coming to b4, not afraid of discoveries, but okay. Black comes in, and now after rook fe1, White would be doing very well. But it's hard to calculate these things, maybe when you're under 20 minutes too. So she grabbed a pawn. Now black gets her pieces out, and this is just very nice, zesty play by Alice Lee. So exchanging queens more on her terms, and now White misjudges things here. No, I guess White doesn't misjudge. I thought rook e1 was okay. So, okay. So White is okay here. If White plays accurately, rook ending. So black can't take the pawn until it gets rid of the back rank threat. So this should, of course, be drawn, but Divya Deshmukh makes a very instructive error about 5 moves from now. Okay, so it's all right. So this is basic Russian schoolboy curriculum. Maybe it's 10 moves from now that she makes a very basic mistake. Okay, so black wants to evict White's rook. White wants to counterattack on the king side. So let's go here. Take advantage of the black king's absence. But here is the instructive mistake. Okay, so which is more important, to keep the pawn from going to a5 or to keep black's king back at the moment?
I got to say, keep the king back.
Yeah, keep the king back. Okay, well, she played rook a1. And now I still think this is very surprising to me that this is actually lost for White.
Well, I mean, that all has to do with relative positions of kings and pawns. So all of these positions have different evaluations.
Right. Even though White seems to be on the way to attacking the king side, and black's king is well off to the side, it's still maybe tactically White can't make progress here, and White also can't really oppose black. I know, giving lots of can you give lots of checks here? Rook g1 check. Well, the rook b1 check, king a6. No, black just, and then black gets the king to the next rank, and once that happens, the frontal checks are known not to be effective. Okay, so white trades pawns, but even though this looks like the thing to do, there's no
Well,
way.
the old wisdom's that you can't even win if you have two rook pawns against rook and two rook pawns against king and rook. You still win more than half the time. So
Yeah, and black's rook is behind the pawn, and
this is hopeless.
Yep. And now once black's king gets into an optimal position, so now here's the so black played this, and now let's check this out. This is very instructive. Can white profit by capturing and doing this? Okay. So the thing is, actually, black's king is close enough behind white's pawn that black is going to get the position where
look at
white
that.
can promote to a knight with check, but still loses. So this, of course, is very basic to know, and white is lost.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah, that's bad. So that's the reason for all of black's maneuvering. So very well done by Alice Lee. And after this, Dejma gave up.
That's
Well,
very nice.
Very interesting game. I was watching Alice in several tournaments where she was playing speed chess against world champions and so on. She became a really strong player. So it's not all of a sudden that she became a grandmaster from nowhere or so on. She is playing on a grandmaster level, at least. And I think we can expect a lot from her. She has an excellent fighting spirit, and her chess is still improving.
Right.
I'm
So I
very-
guess let me just show the ending of her game against Anna Muzichuk, where
Okay.
she would have really been fighting for first place had
Well,
she
this
won.
pawn structure on the white is a famous one. There's a zugzwang. I don't know if it'll happen in this game, but it's a very easy way for black to lose this.
Okay, maybe she'll turn up from one of the computer lines.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, okay, so h5. So Muzichuk makes one misstep, but this is very hard for black to play. So rook e5, king d4. Now white has outflanked black. Okay, d6. Now white is winning. Okay, so this is the obvious misstep, but actually black has probably already lost anyway. So rook e7. So now we're going to corral the pawn, and now so this is where Alice Lee makes a mistake, and I haven't heard what her mistake was. She missed a Zwischenzug for black somewhere. Okay, but it turns out that actually what you should do is play king d5 first, and then after rook takes f2, play rook takes e4. Okay, and it turns out that white's coming too fast. Black cannot get enough counterplay on the king side to stop white from winning a rook. However, she played rook takes e4 first, and expecting rook f2, king d5, but Anna Muzichuk, even short on time, very alertly played this. And the point is that this is a draw because king f4 is met not by capturing on d6.
Right.
King
And
d5
the reason you have to play f6 is to avoid that position that I'm talking about.
right.
Yeah,
And,
that's very pretty.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Very pretty. Yeah. So once this happens, the game is unfortunately dead because this just does not. White does not have tempo moves, and black's pawns are good.
Well done.
Yep.
By
So, yep. I was going to say some words about the British Championship. I won't go through the games, but history was made because the two winners of the British Championships were Shreyas Royal, age 17, and the women's side, Bodhana Shivanandan, age 11.
Oh,
I've been following her for quite some time in tournaments. And she lost to Shreyas Royal in a game that's interesting of itself. But it's worth looking and playing through. Frederick Gordon is a prodigy from Scotland. And this was a highly spirited game that ended in a draw. But I won't take time to go through it. But I was, had the pleasure of monitoring the British Championships from afar.
Okay, and tomorrow there starts the final of Grand Chess Tour, and we'll definitely watch it, and we'll talk about it next week. Okay.
Right.
Have a great week, and thank you so much.
Great beginning of term. Thanks for your correspondence insights and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, best to you both.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.